One of the realities of how I manage my parasocial relationship with you is how I manage my own parasocial relationships with everyone else on the internet that I watch. And be honest, I've been a fan, a subscriber, a student of many other folks on various other venues, various other types of genres, various types of input because of what I'm trying to do myself, trying to make a name myself on this here internet's doing whatever. I've been doing it for quite some time and been doing it in various forms to various matters, various states of success. Back when I lived and worked on the radio, I actually had a very manner of success in that local market. It helps when you have a market to choose from and a target to shoot for. When you don't have that locked in target and you're just sort of shooting blindly shotgun like this stuff, it gets harder. But as I opened up parasocial relationships, and I don't have the definition in front of me, but essentially what a parasocial relationship is what you have as a fan. You believe you know them, you can trust them, you know about their life and what's going on, but you have no actual idea how to get in touch with them. You don't actually speak to them. You just hear what you hear and see what you see and do what is done via what they produce to you. Now, they may actually be totally honest and totally truthful to you, but in the background, in the end, it's not like you're hanging out with them and having those 3 a.m. conversation with them because you're just drunk hanging out in their basement or stuff like that. Those things aren't really happening. Their podcast may seem like that, but you're not sitting there having those conversations with them. You're having them through their discussions, their podcasts, their discussions with the people, and kind of, being a fly on the wall, if you will. So managing my parasocial relationship with you guys watching me or listening to me, I'll get you that in a moment, goes really deep in how I manage my parasocial relationships with other folks, i.e., how do I actually consume content? How do I watch YouTube and listen to podcasts? Number one, I watch YouTube just like I listen to mostly audio podcasts. Yes, the YouTubers put a lot of effort into the jump cuts and the fadeaways and the B-rolls and things like that. But in most cases, when YouTube is rolling, I'm focusing on something else. It's background noise, although I'm paying good attention to it in the background to get what's there. Because if I hadn't wanted to read something, I'd read something. That's why I listen to audiobooks, because I'm busy doing something else, so I can listen to the book while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. You may have great audio visuals, and if you do things, you go to a chart and do things that are visual, I'll stop and watch it for a minute, go back and forth. But if everything you're doing must be eyeballs, then I'm not going to keep up with your channel very long, because it's what you're saying that's there. If I have to read every slide to go get the information, then I might as well stop and read a book. And I'll do that when I have more time to stop and read that book and do direct research. I spend a lot of time on this monitor here to my left, looking up things, research things, reading things back and forth, and re-editing things all day long, with background noise being maybe CNN News. Sometimes it's an audiobook. Sometimes it's music. If it's background stuff that's just for there, just to pick up on things. But when I want real information, or really care about your podcast, but I want to also work on some spreadsheets or edit some flyers or do something else that doesn't take pure labor-intensive thought processes, I will put something on in the background. If I'm bored and I'm sitting there watching it, it's one thing and get all the visuals that's there. But one reason why I'm not a big fan of the jump cuts and the non-pauses and the way people do videos is because it's not natural speak. I am speaking naturally, and when I pause, when I stop, it's there. Also, if I want to put emphasis on something, I can get low, I can do this stuff, and I can put even more distinct pauses, more dramatic pauses, more things to really get you paying in. This was a trick, basically a tool you use for audio things. When it's videos, you're there, so you have to do things a little differently. But when it's audio, doing audio podcasts and back when you did radio, and you're telling a story, and you do those pauses, sometimes I have this cough button here, and it's just a matter of pressing the button because I need to cough, or I need to think, or something's going on, or there's something getting in there, I need to clear a throat. But sometimes it really is drawing you in and trying to bring a sort of a tone, bring a message, bring a way of speaking into this stuff. Slowing down the speech versus speeding up and talking really fast and going into it intensely and getting sort of, doing the deeper voice and the slower voice and making sure that every word is distinctly said on point, to a point that when you slow down, when you pause, when you take those breaths and make sure those commas are really, really, really emphasized, semicolons as well, maybe an actual colon, especially on the periods. you can get a reaction. So how do I produce my materials? Something like this is fairly easy. I have a couple notes down here to kind of lean off of, but I'm riffing off what's going on. I'm actually better at riffing on things on bullet points than I am on reading. It's just how I am, because I'm curious, the camera freaks me out going on there. But essentially, I am speaking to you with my points, going to my points, going back and forth, back and forth. Every so often when I'm doing the news stories and I'm in the middle of a riff, in the middle of a point, I'll go to a riff that's more or less my opinions type stuff, drop into something here that is not actually scripted, not actually pointed, because it seems to flow, because it makes it work. But that's how I talk in here. I talk about the Conversation Project and things you might have heard, things we do on this channel here, not being a dialogue, not being you reading a story and then digest it. This is being literally not being a monologue, being a dialogue, a back and forth. Although it is sort of me saying a lot of stuff, waiting for you to return back in a comment and coming backwards. The back and forth is mainly going back and forth. It's like when you listen back to Rush Limbaugh in the days where he would say something and he was like, well, I know that's what you think, but it's not really. And he would pause for a moment as if the person is speaking to him. Like, yeah, I get that, but I understand what you're thinking, but you need to think a different way. And then he paused again as if they're saying something back. He's working the narrative. He's putting into your mind the words that you should be saying. So that's going back and forth. But you are having conversation with him in real time. When people ask the rhetorical questions and give you a moment to think about it, you're having conversation in time. I don't do a lot of that in my stuff. I just don't, because I guess I don't. I'll throw things out there and keep going because it's sort of like my question if it's really rhetorical. But I don't give you a chance to respond in kind what's going on, because they don't really work out that well. In other broadcasts and other things I do, other things I produce, I will do some of those pauses and say, what do you think about this? And give you a chance to think about it. For things you might not have heard, for conversation projects, usually just reading out the actual script, reading out the actual steps, talking about the details, going into my crazy analysis, and then pausing so you can actually respond in comments. That's where the back and forth is. But for when I'm listening to other people's stuff, when I'm watching other people do their things, I am mindful that I can't interrupt. I can't throw things out there. If something catches my attention in the middle of a broadcast, maybe I look at it's a 5-minute broadcast and so it's short, or it's an hour-long broadcast, so it's going to take a while to watch, or maybe it's a hour and a half, 2-hour thing, and I know I'm not going to watch the whole thing in one piece, and probably not watch the whole thing in general, but listen to as much as possible. It's on. It's there. It's a conversation going on while I'm to the side, just kind of interrupting and just engaging in. And if something catches my attention, I'll peek up. I'll go deal with it. I'll go listen to it as need be. It is what it is. It's how things work. It's how I manage and operate my brain when I'm doing stuff here. But that's how I listen to stuff. So if I assume you are hitting my button to start playing, watching my videos that may go 3, maybe 4 minutes on a long jaunt for a news article. Here, these things I'm talking to, they may go 10, 20 minutes because I'm doing my ramble stuff. You're going to turn it, you're going to start it, you're going to stop at some point if you get bored, because people get bored. We'll talk in another video about the whole the whole attention span of goldfish, because that's BS. You just decide, I'm not going to watch this, go back and forth and go whatever, because in that sense of things, many things that I watch to completion, because I do, unless it's like over an hour and I don't have time to deal with it. But I watch things to completion, even to the point where it's not so great, except when it gets not so great, and then I'll stop watching it. But my background music, my background noise, background videos, background interviews are back there playing, and I'm listening to them. I'm engaging with them with at least 50% of my thought process, maybe 75%, because I'm just sort of mindlessly moving things around on some sort of flyer or some sort of image I'm working on. So it's not so much real thought, just does this look good here, does it look here, while listening to audios on autobiographies and history and business stuff, things like that. But how do you actually listen to or watch what I'm doing? Do you watch? If this is on YouTube, I'm not going to put this on a podcast, so it's not going to be an audio version. This is on YouTube. But do you hit the button, get the topic, let it ride, assume there's no actual visuals or major visuals to go through, and so just let it ride and listen to it? Or must you actually stop and watch me go forward? There is the big I don't know if it's controversial, the contention that more people are watching things on a television set than they were in the past. I do sit in my bedroom and put on YouTube, and some of the longer things are there. Turn it on in the bedroom and let it go on the TV where I can't have multiple screens open. In those cases, I'm probably scrolling on my phone, to be honest. I'm checking texts or emails, things like that, so I can watch the big thing going on there, and I don't want to have to be pausing my phone going back and forth. But on longer form things, I am watching it or paying half attention to it on TV. For something like this, somebody like me, it's not that much production value. I'm sure you're not doing that. But do you actually hit your button and watch me talk for the 10 minutes I've done so far? Or am I in the background? I'm at a tab that's off someplace, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I'm talking. You have to go find me to stop me because a phone is ringing or something like that. That's the case I'm usually in. I'm listening to something. I'm working on something. I'm reading a manual. I'm checking on things. I'm answering emails. And a phone rings, and I have to figure out what tab is rolling so I can stop what I'm listening to, because I don't want to just hit the mute button because I want to not miss anything. But, to be honest, I have, here I have 5 monitors for this computer, two monitors for this computer, this thing back here, a couple of laptops right here. I have at least 8 tabs open on each monitor, if not 20, because it's me. So I figured that out. So that's me. So my viewing habits on YouTube are pretty simple. I see a thumbnail that looks interesting, catches my attention, because that's what catches your attention. If it's someone that I've seen before or looks something that's similar, I'm more likely to view it at some point in time. If it just catches my attention because it's one of those things that the algorithm says you might like this, I'll read the title, because you have to know what's talking about. I don't just look at the thumbnail and says, watch this thing, because that's stupid. I look at the title and kind of figure out what's going on. If it's a creator that I'm familiar with, I will probably, put it on the back burner and watch that as well. When I turn it on, I'll give an idea what the time is. If it's 8 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, if it's 12 minutes, I'll, assume I'm going to spend that 12 minutes with that thing. I start it, I get into it, and no matter how the intro goes, I give it time to understand what's happening and kind of understand the meat of it, because, to be honest, intros are catchy and flashy and work best in the back of the day for, hey, coming up on the Mike Douglas show, we're talking to this guy, this guy, this guy. But you don't get the meat and potatoes. You get a tease of who's coming up, and that's what's going on. You have to get into the actual narrative to get to the story, to get to the actual punchline, to get to the actual point of it. So I will turn it on, I will watch it, or listen to it, if you will. I'll go into it and see what's going on, and if it gets laggy, gets boring, it gets bad, it's something that I know I've seen before, or there are many creators that I've been following for a long time, years, if you will, that because they have to put something out daily, weekly, to keep the algorithms going on, they put out a lot of the same information, same stuff, but it literally is a blatant just the same thing. I may give up on that one on that day, in the middle of that one. But I'm not assuming that, and I don't have that mind that you have the thought, you have the extension span of a goldfish, and if you don't see 10 jump cuts in the first 8 seconds, I can't watch this. There's no jump cuts, because it's dumb. It really is dumb. So that's what this is. It also is a way to sort of pad the work we're doing for this holiday weekend. I got some news stories in. I did do things you might have heard, so there's news stories there. Unfortunately, YouTube is all sort of wacky with their analytics today, so live analytics aren't working. I can't really see things pop up and see things going. The stats over at TikTok doing better, but YouTube is our gold standard. It's our actual measuring stick of what we're doing with. So if I can't keep up with that, in general, it's a lot of just sit back and wait till tonight and see what happens going forward. I can't see real-time stuff and comments, especially on a holiday. This is being recorded on Memorial Day, so I don't expect a lot of comments in thing going on, because I'm spending a lot of watching in the day. These things and my videos tend to take 2 days to kind of gestate and either get the bots or people caring to complain about them, so it takes a little while. Not expecting a lot of engagement on stuff today, except for some of the Memorial Day stuff, which is good. Check it out if you want to. But if you're watching this video whenever, this is meant to be evergreen. This is meant to be an outstanding thing. Let me know about your viewing habits on me and what you actually watch on YouTube, how you watch it. Do you watch it on a TV? Do you watch it mostly on a phone? I'm seeing the stats are saying most of my views are coming on a phone, so I'm trying to be knowledgeable of that one for the shorter things. For the longer things, I'm assuming you're watching them on a computer. I'm just going to assume that. I'm assuming you're watching them maybe on a TV, so you get the full experience. Trying to do my best to make The experience looked great, but in the meantime, everything for the newscasts are supposed to be about 3 minutes long, so you can get the news articles, get the pieces. And no, we don't play the videos. We don't do the audios. That's it's just a rundown. We don't do that every single time. I don't have a team of producers. It's just me running this thing at 3 in the morning. Deal with it. If you're that geeked out about not seeing the video evidence I'm talking about, which I'm sure you've already seen it because you wouldn't be trolling about it, hit another video and watch the video. There's other places who cover the videos just as much, because if all you're doing is just re-racking video and replaying stuff and replaying other people's content, you're not actually making content. You're not giving commentary. And yes, in a sense, I'm doing newscasts from articles other people write, so I'm rewriting the articles in a sense that hopefully they sound engaging to you and new stuff that you may have missed if you're not in the right silo. With a bit of commentaries to give your perspective from my point of view, which you can love or hate. With all that said, we're going to back away now. What do you think about how you engage in these videos? Your parasocial nature with me, because we don't probably know each other, and with other people that you watch as creators, what they do. Do you feel like a greater sense of going on? I would say we'd have a better back and forth, but when I do live feeds, nobody's there and nobody comments. So it's back to, I put out a video, you comment, that's our dialogue. Let's have a dialogue. Let me know what you think about what I'm doing now, what I'm doing today, and how I'm doing it, and how you actually do your actual viewing of your YouTube videos out there, or your TikTok if you're watching TikTok stuff. This won't be on TikTok. This is a YouTube exclusive. Let me know so that I can adjust and do better for you, because it's all about doing better for you and having more conversations that are hopefully realer conversations with all of you.